We've got some fun stuff to talk about with everyone. Here we are. Awesome.
Funny you
Okay.
say that.
So, Madeline, what did you say, Madeline?
It's funny you said that because that is the energy of this full moon.
Well, it's Gemini. Gemini's
Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
sociable.
I guess it wasn't funny you said that. You knew to say that. So there you go.
Well, so if you don't know us already, I am Amalia Natalia with Karmic Kindness. Joining me is, as always, Madeline Parker,
Hello.
who brings us all of the cosmic tea that we're going to be talking about for this upcoming Gemini new moon, which is occurring on December 15th at 4:01 a.m. Eastern, 1:01 a.m. Pacific at 23 degrees and 52 minutes. Uh, as I was preparing for the cosmic chat today, I started to think about, okay, the new moon in Gemini was on 6/6. July
Oh,
or
mm-hmm.
June 6th. I knew I'd get the J out somewhere.
There's a 6-6 portal. Yes.
Yes. So whatever was happening around that time for you, reflect on that. The other piece of this that I think is very interesting that Venus was conjunct the moon during that new moon in Gemini. And Venus is now in Aquarius. So it's moved pretty darn far in the sky. And it being in Aquarius, it's also that like air, higher mind sort of energy similar to Gemini. So there feels to me, and Madeline, you tell me if I'm kind of feeling into this and improperly from an astrological perspective, but it feels to me like we have an opportunity right now, especially with the sun in Sagittarius and the moon in Gemini. Both are very, I mean, Gemini is very mental air. Sagittarius obviously is fire, but it has a connection to higher wisdom and education, and as does Gemini. So I feel like we've got a little bit of that connection of the love of wisdom or knowledge. And then we also have Jupiter, which was opposing the Sagittarius new moon. What's now revealing what is being revealed to us as Jupiter is conjunct this new moon? So it's like it's almost like we received some information during the Sagittarius new moon that might be helpful, might be enlightening in some way, might have been challenging. But now, when you've got Jupiter and the moon together, that energy might be expanded for us to make a different choice, but based on a different perspective, based on a different way of seeing things. Our minds might be bended and twisted in a way that we haven't had before. And now we have an opportunity to approach something differently, feel differently about something because our mind, our mental construct of it is different. So just a couple of little tidbits like that really jumped out at me when I was preparing for today. As always, I love to talk about the body gates for the sign because I feel like for me, I notice things in my body, and then I think, what is this? What's going on? Like, where is this coming from? I wonder, oh, did I eat something? Oh, did I, sleep funny, whatever. But it could really very well be an activation of the cosmic energy.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Gemini is connected to the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the respiratory system. So this is the time of year people tend to get come down with all sorts of bronchial respiratory things. Pay attention, lungs, the nerves and like the blood, like capillaries are connected to this too. Um, using your hands, maybe getting a massage, giving yourself a massage, just, rubbing your shoulders, doing some tapping on different parts of your body could be really comforting right now. And especially if you live somewhere where it's cold, kind of doing some rubbing on your skin will warm you up a little bit too.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry. I was trying to stop it.
No, let it out. Got to let it
Okay.
out. Okay, so before I go into the moon aspects and the Madeline jumps into all of the cosmic goodness, I just want to remind everyone about a few retrograde planetary movements too. We have Mars retrograde in Leo during this. It's actually now as well, but it's going to be happening during the full moon as well. Jupiter is retrograde in Gemini, Uranus is retrograde in the sign of Taurus, and Chiron is still retrograde in Aries. So We've had some forward movement of some of the outer planets. Mercury will be out of retrograde by then, which will be really nice. And just I'm sure Madeleine's going to be talking about just how that energy is going to feel a little bit different. So, as with every new moon, every full moon, we have the sun in Sagittarius in this case, and the moon in Gemini. So they're always opposing each other. So a couple of key themes I wanted to highlight for this upcoming moon cycle, and to point out too, this is the last full moon of 2024. So we are kind of tying up some bows on things, and here's some key elements that I think would be interesting to contemplate if you wish, because the key theme for Gemini is also I think. So travel. So we have long-term travel represented by Sag, short-term travel represented by Gemini, knowledge. So we have like the mental pursuits of Gemini, and then that expanded knowledge of Sagittarius, higher wisdom, communication, and adaptability are also some key themes for this upcoming moon cycle. As I mentioned before, we've got the moon conjunct Jupiter, the planet of expansion and growth and benevolence. We love Jupiter. So the one thing about Jupiter is it expands whatever's there. So for, however this is going to affect you, it's going to expand it for you. So reflect on any personal growth that you have experienced since June in particular. And then awareness of how your words impact others. And I would go so far as to say also how your words impact yourself when you say them, when you notice the words that you are using, and expand your mind. Be curious about, we've got Jupiter, this planet of expansion, and you're going to be, maybe expanding your viewpoints, expanding your mind. Get curious about what's being shown to you. Then we have, which could be a challenging aspect in some ways, but always beneficial, is the moon is square to Neptune in Pisces. So this will give us an opportunity to develop emotional awareness, while also maintaining some boundaries, and trust that, trust your intuition while still engaging your mind. So it's kind of striking that balance between what we're thinking and what we're actually experiencing, what we're feeling, what we're intuitively getting hits on, and then also using our mind to kind of double check, because Neptune can make things seem one way when they're really not. So just really checking in with ourselves. So that is kind of the rundown of what I'm seeing in the cosmos and what's coming up for just this little tiny piece of it with the moon. But Madeleine, I am excited to hear all that you have to say and share about all the other stuff that's going on.
Okay, well, you touched on a lot of it. It's basically, this is the full moon that will bring it is the last full moon, like you mentioned, of the year. So it brings the dissolution, the dissolving of something, and the resolve. Like it's a form of death, because a lot of people I know, people pass a full moon in Gemini. You could lose a sibling, you could lose a neighbor. I've seen many full moons in Gemini with those kinds of things, but that's like worst case scenario, and that's part of life anyway. But it's basically, it's a metaphor for like the ending of something, the bearing of the resolve, the end of the journey, the end of something here. And so let's pop the chart and show everybody all these things. So it's so the energy basically is a part of the sky, the lunar mansion that is the deer head. It's like a deer head. So there's curiosity, adventure, and seeking, and excitement, and it's very mutable. It's very light. It's the energy of Mercury, which is very young, which is very, like you said, jokesters, and it's literally like a shift in our perspective, as you were talking about, that sets us kind of free to be. So we're opposite. We've got this Jupiter and Mercury opposing each other. So we're we're undoing old beliefs, or we're seeing through perceptions that are blocking our expansion, and we're having communication, and we're having, because we've also got Mars opposite Venus still to some degree, so we're having conversations. Mercury's still in retrograde, is about to go direct. Mercury will go direct that day. So it's
Mhm.
almost as though we're getting communication from people from the past, resolving issues, shifts in belief, shifts in perceptions. Basically, we're aligning to our soul contracts, to our destined soul contracts with our divine partners, or partners in general, or groups. And so what's happening is we're dissolving old rigid ways of seeing things, because we have to adapt. This is an adaptable energy, so we're adapting to a future. We're adapting to this new era. We're literally going to see so many changes coming up here. It's incredible, right? With the nodes conjoining Neptune, which is literally soul contract, right? So this full moon is shattering and rigid perceptions, and there's sort of an opening now to the macro. So Jupiter's the macro in a micro sign. Jupiter's in Mercury, so in a Gemini, and this, the full moon is what we've got: Jupiter in Gemini and Mercury in Jupiter. So we've got this flip mutual reception thing where we're literally completely changing our minds and seeing things differently in such a drastic way, that because we're realizing our minds are limited and we can't see this next path, this new era. We don't know what it is. We've never been there before. We're literally, old ways of earning money and ways of jobs that have always been secure ways of sources of income have completely dissolved now, and there's new ways, new structures building, new ways of making money that are much more in alignment with the new earth, that involve much more independence from people. So we're really shifting. And there's a lot of soul contracts coming in because we're at the beginning of the era. And in this era, we rapidly, quickly shift to the new way of living, which is more independence and all things Aquarius, which we won't get into. But
That's a whole nother episode.
yes, that's another long conversation. So anyway, so with this full moon in Gemini, we know what we've learned. We've learned something that we can now see the no need for. And this is internal. This is internal because during the new moon, this is in retrograde, and then it goes direct. So what that means is this internal thing happens: communication, openings of communication, openings of ideas, openings of minds. And now something can go forward, because Mercury literally is the ruler of this new moon, and it's stationing, literally like holding back until this happens, so we can go forward into this is the last full moon of this year, where we've really resolved and learned some major things, a lot, because we're about to enter a whole new paradigm where we have to have a whole different perception and a whole new way of thinking, because we have to do everything differently. And this, we've got Pluto at 0 degrees in the sign of Aquarius. I saw another 0 degree transit here recently somewhere. Well, we're going to have, interestingly enough, is when the sun moves into Capricorn, and I was looking at that exact time, the chart shifts, the sun shifts into its way back up, its rebirth.
Right.
It's at 0 degrees Capricorn, which is the ruler of Aquarius. So it's almost like this start of this new cycle here on this new earth path. Grassroots people shooting up into success, people who've been struggling on their Jupiterian Saturnian path now. The kite, there's a kite here coming in. I'm going to show you. I could show you now, but I'm seeing it for so many people. Here, I'll get to basically when the nodes hit, let's give it a week here. Let me just pull this down. When the nodes hit, when the nodes hit Jupiter, Neptune here, we're still kind of not there yet. So let's go to here. So that's January, right? We're within 3 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the south, so we've got the south node, Neptune. Everything's going to be hitting this part of the sky all the way next 4 or 5 months up. We're going to have Saturn there eventually, and it's literally instigating this new era, the birth of the new era, all these new projects. And there's a kite formation. The south node's not picking it up, but it's there. It's here, here, to the south. Wait a minute. Let me get to it. Neptune, Pluto, Uranus, and the south node is it's just not picking it up. It should. Let's make it pick up. There it is. So
Yeah.
so anyway, it's basically this kite that points to the nodes in Neptune, which is your soul calling, your spiritual mission, the reason you were here. It's ruled by Jupiter, which is to help humanity, expand humanity, and it's making a sextile to the Pluto here, which is kind of wide, but it's it's going to hit that exact right before, because it's going to make a sextile to Pluto here. So it should be showing. There it is. And so this is, and then to the south, no, you see, there's the kite. It's picking it up right there. So literally, like everything, all the transits, all these transits that are coming up in the next couple of months are pinpointing this spot. And every time a moon hits there, every month, it's going to hit that spot. It's going to create a kite. So it's literally like suddenly everybody's going to wake up to some weird thing that they realize their life has so been planned out and so on a chartered path. And this is an effortless thing. When kites are just flow, you just run into a lot of very successful people have kites in their charts. They just like go when you're just guided by spirit, because it's in Pisces. You're guided by spirit, your intuition. You're going to literally just like, it's like you're on a conveyor belt towards your dream, of because the reason you were born here is that you were going to solve a problem on this planet that was going to help us move into the new earth, and it was going to be in a way that just made you so happy and filled your cup, because it fills your cup to help and to fix things, because it does. That's what actually really fills people's cups, that makes you happy. It's
And
actually,
everyone has a role. I mean,
yes,
everyone's got something here that they're really freaking good at and that they are here
yep,
to contribute.
where
Everybody.
everybody is we are angelic third dimensional beings, and that's what astrology teaches us. And if you're a third dimensional being, that means you're here to work with the other dimensions. That means you're very specifically intended down here. There is a specific reason you were sent here,
Yeah.
purpose. So that's what people are going to wake up to, because there's a lot of unhappiness. And I'll tell you how, if anybody's watching this who's feeling depressed and unhappy, number one, exercising your body health is always going to make you feel better. And number two, feeling like you're on your path and you're fulfilling your purpose, and that's why we do it. And because it's the only way you feel fulfillment in life. That's my experience. And Jupiter, by the way, the sun is in the galactic center during this full moon, right? So if anybody wants to know about the galactic center, I'll give you a little bit of a thing on that. So the galactic center is the bridge between galactic center is a bridge between the physical and the metaphysical realm. So it's literally like you're getting astrology reminds us of the interconnectedness of all things and the continuous dance of the cosmos and the human consciousness. That's Jupiter. Whether through personal enlightenment or collective evolution, the galactic center invites us to explore the infinite possibilities of existence, mind expansion, urging us to align with the deeper truths of the universe. Because,
Like a portal.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to get this. So we're ending something on this full moon, and then we're going to get this, aha, I have the power. I have the power. I know that sounds crazy.
You've got the
You've
power.
got the power, but
Ah.
you've got the universe, because suddenly things happen because of that kite that you didn't, it's magic that you didn't have to make happen, and happen on some sort of weird magical way that you're looking at the universe going, okay, this is obviously what we're supposed to do here.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we're going to wake up to the magic of the forces, unseen forces here on this new moon, full moon, and we're going to dissolve old ways of seeing things. It's in Gemini. It's mutable. We're changing our minds. We're open minded. We're with the reflective energy of Mars, and Jupiter being in its retrograde energy is like We're having, these are shifts that are coming. I mean, a lot of it's like information or knowledge or, media ideas, writing ideas, starting after this, by the way, initiating projects, communication. But with the Jupiter in retrograde, there is an alignment, and I think you touched on it, of a clarity derived from having been introspective during these retrogrades.
Mhm.
So it's going to come from the inside, and something on the outside confirms it.
Yeah.
Something validates it. That's what this full moon brings us. Some kind of validation of that shift that's happening within us, and it's supported by this expansive energies of Jupiter, and we're changing our minds and we're adapting, and we're starting new cycles here, whole new era. I mean, we're cleaning the slate here, wiping old ways of thinking, seeing things, ideas, and we're getting downloads, we're getting support for any idea you're going to see that's right. It's going to take off. It's like, if you're in alignment, it's going to work. And here's the other thing you want to really, and I'm working with this with people right now very hard, like we're working hard on this.
Mhm.
You've got to watch what you're thinking and what you say. I'm
Yes.
doing this workshops. Okay, I'm teaching these workshops. This is a quick minute. I'm going to tell you, I'm doing my notes. I'm preparing my notes for this workshop, which I'm going to explain to everybody wherever it is. Okay.
Wherever it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna so declaring I can't make it will manifest just as clearly as I can. Use reverence, use words with reverence when using the energy of the magician, because I'm doing the magician card, the 22 paths of the hero's journey. He is awake to the power of the word, which means internal dialogue, internal word. With that retrograde, I'm hearing it when I'm doing readings for people. They'd say, well, I'm so unhealthy right now. I go, don't you say that.
I agree. You know what, Madeline, that's so true, because it's twofold. One,
Yep.
your words are like spells.
Yep.
You're spell casting.
Yep.
And anytime you use I am in particular, that one is so powerful. I
Mm-hmm.
am fill in the blank. You are literally creating that experience for yourself. So I know, like, when I was having some health issues and people
Mm-hmm.
were asking what's going on, and I was very careful with how I would articulate what was happening, because you don't want to pretend like some experience isn't happening, but you
Right.
can shift how you're presenting it and how
Mm-hmm.
you're literally hearing yourself talk about it by choosing different words. So I love that. I
Yep.
love
Yep.
that, Madeline. That's
Yes, it's
fantastic.
very important, because it says words have a double-edged sword. They can either destroy or be used for greater understanding and clarity and
Yes.
action. So it's very important in these energies. And I'm going to tell you why. Another reason it's so important in these energies, because when we're in the energy of Aquarius, that's why the whole law of attraction thing has come out now. But that's just one part of it. You have to work with the angels, the unseen forces. But if you have a fear, it's going to manifest. Boom. Like, because we're really merging with the fifth dimension right now. The energies are more in the energy of Aquarius, which, remember, if I cut the chart in Aries here, where'd Aries go? Right
The
here,
right.
I lift it up. Aquarius, the energy of Aquarius is up there next to the 12th dimension, which is God, which is like the highest dimension, which is the light, which is the source. So it's like Aquarius is really high vibrational. It's all the electricity, it's the unseen energies, it's email, Wi-Fi, all that stuff, and it's the fifth dimension. And right now, that's the universe. Remember, whatever era we're in, the universe is completely backing that. And so working with the 5D is quick. It manifests, snap. So you got to be really mindful of, also especially on this full moon, because with Jupiter there and Mercury, people can burst out things. You can have explosions of saying things with Mars retrograde. So people have to be conscious.
Be
of
aware.
not
Yeah.
attacking somebody here, which, and by the way, this full moon does bring with a square to Neptune, because, there could be tensions I have a sun square Neptune all year because my sun is at 29 degrees Sagittarius. So I have been studying what that does. And I can tell you, it makes you have constant shifts in your beliefs, like boom, boom, boom. Like 1 minute I believe this, and the next minute I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's so true, Madeline, because I have, um, well, actually, Neptune is squaring my Jupiter,
Well,
and
yes, that
it's
would do it
similar.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because my
similar
sun is
energy.
in Sagittarius, which is Jupiter.
No,
And so it's all about the belief.
yeah. And I'm noticing beliefs are shifting. And
Oh,
I've been and
rapid.
being curious about the shifts because, I think as humans, we can get locked into a certain way of being and living and believing things
Mm-hmm.
are a certain way. And then when we start to be shown different avenues and perspectives, if you can just take a moment to pause and be with what that is instead of defending your own or pushing against what's there, it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing the gold that can be mined in those experiences.
I mean, I've been going through, I've learned so many things that make me think that we just know, we've been told so many lies. And I won't go into it all, but it's just like my mind is just going, wow, like about
Mm.
history, about arch buildings, the Tartarian thing. I mean,
I knew you were going to
I
say
know. I mean, I find it
that.
fascinating, especially since I have Saturn in my eighth house. So I'm really into like investigation and digging deep. But I mean, my mind is just going, whoa, boom, that emoji where the brain, I'm just going, oh
Mhm.
my God. Like, so
Yeah.
anyway, this full moon, in my opinion, has that element to it, because full moons reveal things, right? Full moons are like, they're the light in the night and they reveal something in the down here we see, and reveals things. Sometimes you discover on a full moon somebody's cheating on you, or that you've got a problem, that has to be dealt with, like a big debt interest sudden boom, something that has to. So full moons can bring those kinds of problems to light, and that's why a lot of people, fights happen on full moons, violence happens on full moons, people get triggered on full moons. And it's Gemini square Neptune full moon, there's potential there for belief fights, conflicts that become enraged with the, Mars and Leo, which is all about your what you really fight for in life, so there's this, you want to take this full moon, easy do it, go with the Gemini lightness, adapt, see the other person's point of view. The Gemini in my class that I teach, the card of Gemini, is like learning how to harmonize with the other opposing force, because it's masculine, feminine, the Lover's card. It's like two opposing forces. They have to. That's what expansion happens, through the harmonious fusion of two opposing forces. So the other one finds agreement in the other one. That's the way it can blend, and then you have instant manifestation, you have instant abundance. That's the infinity number. It's the harmonic fusion of the opposites. So that's what this Gemini full moon is, where we wake up, we see the other's point of view, we shift our beliefs, or they shift their beliefs, and then we can harmonize. We find agreement. We find a common universal truth, because actually Jupiter isn't about my truth, your truth, different beliefs, religion. It can be, but really, really, what Jupiter in the ninth house represents seeking the universal higher truth. That is the truth, and there is a cosmic truth, and we are all united in that cosmic truth, which things like, reap what you sow, or don't hurt others, just simple things, but also that there's a cosmic order and an unseen force here that's guiding us to a higher consciousness, that we can respond to the third dimensional experiences from a higher dimensional perspective. And that's what astrology does.
So, Madeline, do you mind? I wanted to share the
Sure.
impact chart for
Yeah.
folks too, so they could see, for them specifically where how it might affect them specifically. So as you can see here at the bottom, you'll see the wait a minute. Is this right? Yes. Yes. Okay, sorry. So you'll see, I was thinking this was something else. Sorry, my brain just had a moment. So you see the moon here in
Neptune
Gemini,
square.
and so if you have any points or planets
Yes.
in these later degrees, mid to later degrees, like what would that be? I didn't do the math on this.
20 to 25, 26.
Yeah, or even like the 10-degree orb of like let's just say 15 to 25,
Okay.
um, that you will be feeling this in Pisces, in Virgo, and obviously in Sagittarius because that's where the moon is opposing. So just keep an eye out, like check your natal chart. You can get it at astroseek.com, astrocharts, astro.com. I mean, there's tons of places. Just do a quick search if you don't have your natal chart and just see if you have any points or planets within this degree spectrum in Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, or Pisces, because you will be feeling this impact more than the folks who don't. But we're all going to feel it in some one shape or another. I also wanted to share really quickly the flower for this new moon or this full moon. And just so everyone knows, with every cosmic chat, I'm using the Flower Evolution deck by Lotus Way. It's out of print, but they're bringing it back. So I will be sharing more info about that when that is official. And when I share the flower for this full moon, it's an overarching theme for everyone, and then I'll be sharing a flower for each one of the 12 signs. And there is a link below if you would like to purchase an elixir or a mist or a serum. It's really supportive. It's basically creating change from the inside out. I utilize the mists and the elixirs every single day. And I will tell you, it has been a game changer in my life. There's actually even an elixir and mist called Game Changer, which smells quite lovely. And they all taste pretty much the same. They've got like a honey base. If you are feeling like this is going to be challenging for you, or if you are in a challenging period of time right now, these products are so helpful to support you. However, you don't need them either. You can literally take a screenshot of the cards that I show on the screen. You can imagine it in your mind's eye. Maybe if it's a rose or a flower that's easily available, just purchase it and put it in your home somewhere and just bring that energy in because it's all about the energy. So, Madeline, you were describing this earlier, and I was like getting tickled because it was very much what the
Oh,
Brugmansia
like that.
is bringing into the fold for us. This, you were talking about, I don't remember your exact words, but this is about ease. It also is about letting things go and letting loose, like just really not being quite so serious in a way. It's also the assimilation of any change or growth that's taken place. And that to me feels very connected to the Jupiter opposition from the Sagittarius new moon and now the Jupiter conjunction for this full moon. So really perfect support for that. And it's also the ability to surrender and be vulnerable. And that I feel like is kind of what we've been talking about how the way our perception of things and how, when we're out in the world, like to be able to ask for help, to be able to use words that are supportive of ourselves and others, and to be able to speak to what it is that we need, what it is that we desire, and craft and create that using our communication, using our language. So here's the Brugmansia. I'm going to see if I can hold it up a little so everyone can see it. I mean, even though it looks like a simple flower, there's a lot happening there. There's I don't know, just there's a multi-dimensionality to it in a
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the flower for this full moon.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because the energy of Gemini is air, and that was very white.
Yeah.
And I do think that that square to Neptune does bring a breakthrough. I think these are breakthrough energies. It could be, some kind of an argument or some kind of conflicts or some kind of truths coming out or revelations that are upsetting. And but remember, we're because the full moon is also subconscious, so we're breaking
Mm.
through things, and it's it's so that we can go grow. So this is all good.
Oh, do
Even
you
if it
have your,
feels, yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I thought you were done. I was going to say, you don't have your setup. We finally had the whole
Figured
setup.
it out. I
Yeah.
know.
Do you want me to hold up
So,
my book? Like I can go grab one of my books and it's a big thing.
I have my cards somewhere, but for some reason I can't find Aries. So I mean, I
All right.
don't, whatever, we'll just go here. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
I'll just try and hold it up a while. So Aries, let me get to Aries, you guys. Aries are with the nodes almost exiting your sign here, which is interesting because your life totally changes when that happens. I know that's what happened to me. I remember. Okay, so let's go to Aries. Let's flip it here. Flip it, flip it, flip it. Seventh house. I just have to hold it up longer. That's all. Okay, so Aries, you're going to have Sagittarius is in your ninth house. What a wow, travel but or writing some kind of spiritual, higher philosophical project that you feel impassioned to do, that you feel like is a benefit to society. It's something that needs to be said. It restores faith. It's what we were just talking about, higher consciousness. Because remember, Gemini and Mercury is the little bits of information, news information, local stuff, and then Jupiter is the higher philosophical mind. So it's almost like we've got Mercury there, and it's this full moon there. So it's like the end of an old belief that's been stopping you from either a writing project or travel, or you travel and you have a shift of perception. You're traveling, you have a whole shift of perception that then decides that you're ready to step into a purpose that serves humanity. There's clarity comes in. It could be it that way, but basically some sort of awareness to align with a higher purpose, and to either you start communicating that to people, or you start writing about it, or you start to believe in it. And that's just where we're getting now. And then it turns into a shift in your destiny somehow. Because we do need to mention the nodes are in on the story, by the way. I forgot, because the nodes are being squared by, actually, the nodes are being trine by Mars. So this puts you in alignment with something very destined. Your ruling planet, trine by Mars. So you're suddenly really in alignment. It feels right. That kite, it's going to open doors for you. And you have this, it's an aha shift in perception. It's an awakening to spirituality. But again, Aries are typically not your woo-woos unless they've got other things going on in their chart. But on the whole, they tend to like to look at spirituality in a more sort of like play, kind of challenging it, kind of like, tongue in cheek about it kind of energy. But then now this is just like, okay, well, let's explore this further. By the way, the deer is about exploring curiosity. So there's a willingness now to learn and open up to spirituality, astrology, the unseen forces, philosophy, the higher truth.
Well, we have the
Oh, wow.
African daisy. Oh, you very much reacted to
Yeah,
this,
that
Ellen.
was like,
This, what I love about this, based on what you were saying, is that this flower helps clarify the life's purpose. So it's like, and it reminds me a little bit of Sag in a way, with like the
mm-hmm.
target in the center. And moves like once you have that clarity of mind around your purpose, it can move you closer to joy and laughter and playfulness
Mm-hmm.
and more of that easeful energy rather than that like fiery, fired up, oh, like I got to go out there and get it sort of
Mm-hmm.
Aries nature. So it brings a little bit of softness, but yet there's still some determination and some energy to
Yeah.
go. So
Yeah, I mean, that red energy is Aries, which is actually, oddly enough, people don't know this, but pink is kind of the color for Aries. I'll explain one day. But anyway, that is that Aries energy, and that's spiritual awakening right there.
yeah, African daisy. Here you
Yep,
go.
that's great.
Yeah, I love that.
All right. So for Taurus, oops, Taurus, come back here.
And
Taurus,
also for anyone, oh, don't forget to hold up the car, Madeline.
thank you for reminding me.
And then for anyone
Mhm.
that's, we've got a couple folks that are tuning in. Jessica is with us. Welcome,
Hey,
Jessica.
Jessica. Woohoo.
Yes, so thank you for being here. And Jessica, if you, I know you've been here before, but could you remind us what your rising sign is, and we can keep a special lookout for the chat for you during the your rising sign. And anyone else who's on here live, drop in your rising sign and be sure to ask us any questions you have. Okay, Taurus.
Taurus. All right. So you're going to have this eighth house Gemini in your second house. So this is an ending, an old way of making money kind of goes away. Maybe some possessions, you get rid of some possessions, you clear clutter, you sell a property, you release some land, you sell something. What else? You could get an inheritance with the eighth and second house thing going on. But it could be that you let go because this is a spiritual, we're going to a spiritual thing. And the thing about the second house is it's material possessions and internal possessions, what you possess within you. So with that galactic center thing going on up there, sun in that spot in your eighth house, it's sort of like an awakening to something deep within you that's a talent, a true talent that you let go, you release one way of making money and you start opening up to your true talent, because we are here to do in this full moon, we're shifting to the thing that we truly are gifted at, that is real. I just did a reading on someone else's chart with a kite. This full moon is really hitting or giving them a kite too, like double kite. And they don't even know what the heck's about to happen, but their whole life's about to change and into the
Mhm.
true thing. Because I did a card reading and it said your true calling is literally on your doorstep here, and it's going to work. So this is this Gemini sort of awakening energies and the curiosity to explore a talent, an inner gift, a talent, which would indicate a talent. So you have so Taurans possess within them, and you know what? It could be writing, it could be speaking, it could be all things Gemini, right? Communication, media, hands, making things with your hands,
Yep.
Mercury. That, and you've got Jupiter there because remember this full moon has Jupiter on it, which is to expand and to create expansion in our life. So it's going to rapidly expand your finances. The blowers are here. Hang on a minute.
Okay.
The one thing I do not like about California is blowers. Okay. So anyway, so it's like this rapid expansion of a way to earn money that really is in alignment with a true talent, a true gift, or you perhaps own land and you're now going to use to farm and grow on it. But it's basically something you possess now expands in your life. Possessions expand in your life. Expenses could expand in your life, but it's for the good. It's for the good. It will reap rewards here. We are being adjust. We are moving on to an abundant path here. This isn't. If there's a challenge and hard things show up here, it's because it's been in the way of the abundant path and it's being released. So anyway, so that I think kind of sums it up for Taurus. A new way,
Yeah.
old way of making money, new way comes in.
Okay, I love this because the kind of the key pieces for the pink primrose, a little bit of a similar
Mm.
vibe to the last flower we just had,
Mm-hmm.
is effortless and easeful ideas and action. So they're going to get the information and then be able to take action on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much about creativity. You were talking about that a moment ago. And then we have, to me, it's that Jupiterian influence with rapid growth and expansion in their lives. So that could be from a monetary perspective. It could come
Mm-hmm.
in through I mean, with the eighth house, it could be the death of a loved one. It could be from a project. It could be from something that they sold, like you were talking about. But there is that opportunity, and the pink primrose is echoing a lot of what you said. And so as a reminder for those watching too, like with this flower, if you're a Taurus sun, moon, or rising, take a screenshot of this and then just have that as kind of part of your experience. If you run into a little bit of a challenge, like there's an expense you didn't expect or something's coming up, just call in this energy to surround you and just play with it and get curious. We're in this curious kind of energy with this
Yeah.
Gemini full moon about what starts to shift and change in your life. You might be pleasantly surprised. I
Mhm.
know I have been when
Mm.
playing with some of this. So yeah,
Yeah,
pink.
well, if you're Taurus, your second house energy anyway, and you're ruled by Venus, and second house is a Taurus house. So it's like that card literally is like your creative self-expression of you,
You, yeah,
yeah, your
exactly.
talent.
Right. Gemini.
Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. Okay, Gemini, Gemini. All right, let's take a look for Gemini. So, of course, this is in your first house. So you're going to be very, this is going to be very, very active for you. You're going to be either lots of communication, emails, very busy talking to people, a shift in ideas, communication from people from your past. In your seventh house, the sun is the galactic center. A relationship from your past absolutely coming in that is aligned with your calling. A lot of past relationships coming in if you've been in separation from a true partner, going through karma clearing, which is what we've all been going through. And if it's been hitting in your, another planet, it could be hitting in one of your cardinals. But anyway, you're now ready to go forward with a calling and a co-collaborative, perhaps writing, media, or Jupiter, flat out just plain Jupiterian sort of mission, that you're here to do with your partner. And you've both been through what you've needed to go through. Sagittarius is sort of like, um, it's adventure and travel, and it's fire energy, so it's inspired, and so there's some sort of good cause that you align with, but also you could be ending relationships because you're going to have that sun there, and with a full moon in your first house, you're done. There's a lot of things you're done with when you have a full moon in your first house. You're really over. And it's either because third house is your community, people that are around you, neighbors, siblings. So you've seen the light, you've seen the most you can get out of those circumstances or out of those relationships. And now you're ready for something more. And travel could very well be there. Travel with a true person, because you've got that full moon in Sagittarius in your seventh house. So travel is going to be a theme of your mate and you. What else can I say about this? Lots of shifts, rapid shifts in your beliefs and spirituality and the way you see things, Gemini. Jupiter there, you're initiating new things. It's in retrograde, so if you initiate anything right now, it's most likely something from the past that's coming back, and most likely the relationship that shows up here is your true person, and most likely someone from the past.
Okay.
Unless you're young, very young, and it's a new person, you meet your person, that could absolutely happen.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then full moon there, just knowing who you are, a certain sort of revelation of not wanting to adjust to being like done being someone you're not. Energy.
Boy, so this navel orange blossom really supports Geminis in this
Oh.
upcoming moon cycle. It magnifies a sense of sensuality and play. You were talking about they could maybe meet their person. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when you meet someone that you feel the strong connection to, it automatically like ignites something in you where you tend to be more playful. You tend to have that like that titillating, like sensual feeling inside of you when you have that connection with someone. It warms your heart. It also allows you to open up to inspired ideas and really feel that sense of it's so good to be alive. And it breaks down the walls inside you. So you're able to open up your heart. And all of this to be feels very connected to your sense of self and your connection to someone else that might come come into your life as a partner and moving forward in an inspired, intentional way. So the navel orange blossom.
Yeah, I want to add partnerships to it because remember, it's not just relationship romantic, although it mostly is, but there
Yeah,
might be other partners involved because if you look at that, it could be group collaborative ventures. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, that's a great point.
All righty. Let's get to a Cancer.
And Jessica
Yeah,
is
is Cancer.
she is a Cancer. Yeah. So listen up, Jessica. And if
All
there's
right,
anything that
Jessica, me
we're
and you, this is for us. All right, so this full moon is happening in our 12th house. That's right, 12th house. So this is good because even though it could be the revelation of a debt or tax problems or some sort of can be debts and stuff, like I had some and it could involve your spouse or partner. I had a tax thing come up with my ex-husband show up. It's freaked the bejeebers out of me on the
hmm,
around that new moon in Gemini. So this is the end of that. It something could be revealed, a problem that enables it to be over, but this is definitely the dissolve because it's in the 12th house. So that's like double full moon, like double resolve dissolving, something fading away. So this problem of debt or joint resources or problems with taxes or just in general sort of fears um, um, that are sort of stem from past life because it's our subconscious fears. So you're manifesting these crises in finances because you have subconscious fears. So you're like, so this some sort of resolve. This is over. This is cleared up here. And you see the source of it and you see that it's irrational fear. Because remember, full moon is logic, Mercury's logic, Jupiter's in the logic, the sun is in spirituality and faith, right? So so your 12th and your 6th house, because the 6th house is what we do to ourselves on a day-to-day that determines our health and our wealth. So if you have fear-based subconscious fear of debt and money, tax, joint resources, and just like, like I do.
Madeline's like, I can relate.
Yep. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
have to up that spiritual practice, up that day to day. This is a Gemini full moon, which means we become aware of our inner, and this is subconscious now. We're becoming, and Mercury in retrograde, we're becoming aware of our subconscious programming of fear based. We have no power. That is the 12th house, restoring power, feeling in our power about something that you feel unempowered about. So we're pulling out of that and we're pulling into that learning because remember this is also we've learned something on this full moon and now we're ready to seek other layers to knowledge and higher philosophies. We're curious now because that fear was irrational and we made it. You make those things happen. So on this full moon, you wake up to that. You see how you can empower yourself around finances and debt. You feel empowered. I know this is going to be good for my son. He's also afraid of debt, very much so. And sorry, son, he doesn't watch anyway, so it's fine. I can talk about it all I want. He's afraid of debt, so he keeps manifesting debt, and then he gets some problematic debt stuff. He gets all freaked out, but he's cleared all that. He's been working on it, so but now he has to shift to knowing how to use debt because he has planets in his 8th house, which means if you understand how to use debt, you can make it work in your favor very, 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 very well. It means you have faith in the universe. You have faith in abundance. So, and you get rewarded. I've tested this out. I can verify. And Pluto's there in your 8th house. So Cancers are going to be releasing and letting go and letting God in the money, trust. And then you do very, very well. So this full moon brings you into a restorative place of faith and waking up to your power of how you do things, of being diligent, being careful, being day-to-day habits, good habits. Health issues could definitely show up, but the resolve, I'll tell you something, I've resolved a long battle with migraines. I've been on this journey for about 5 years trying to figure out, I've done blood work. I've gone to herbologists. Like what, guess what it is? Salt. I have a whole jar of
Really?
salt back there by my bed. Yep, I can feel it. Now, if I feel any dehydration, especially with these solar flares, these
Yeah.
ascension symptoms, we're dehydrating like that. And I notice that I get these migraines on these ascension times, and I notice my skin dries up. So it's like you dehydrate really fast during these solar flares. So I have a jar of salt by my bed. Those are salt tablets, and I just pop them as soon as I feel dehydration coming in. I'm popping the salt. I even got a slight headache, and I didn't have to take any Advil or anything. I just popped the salt, gone.
Well, there is something to say that with the soil and a lot of the
Yeah.
water that we drink, it's been stripped of all of the
Mm.
minerals that we need, the salt and the minerals
Yep.
that we need. And so, and there's even specific salts and minerals that are connected to each of the signs. And,
Yep.
I practiced this for about 2 years, taking different mineral salts for each moon phase. So like every 2.5 days, I would change to a different salt that
Mm.
corresponded to the sign. And it's a little high maintenance. So that's why I did it for a while and then I stopped. But it was really interesting. So now I kind of intuit what I might need and try, different things. And it's homeopathic. There's nothing
Yeah.
really
I
harmful.
mean, I just can't even tell you how different I feel. It is literally this full moon. It's hitting. I've been testing it out in the last couple weeks. Well, I had that new moon in Sagittarius is when I really woke up to it, and I started ordering all these salt things and buying all these salt electrolyte pills. And I'm so happy that I've solved this problem, and it's happening with this 12th house, 6th house access. Now, here's the other thing. I have a lot of water in my chart. I'm very psychic. I'm using a lot of
Mm.
psychic abilities. So it's like I dated a lineman for a while, and he said there, and I told him what I did, and he said it's really interesting because I said everybody has different energies. We're all different. We're all different signs. And he goes, that's so true, because in his work, there were some people that get electrocuted like that. Some people that hardly ever get, well, not electrocuted, but shocked, I should say,
Shocked. Yeah.
that get really easily shocked if they just touch them, they get shocked. And then there's some people that hardly get shocked at all, and they don't understand that. Well, I'm water, so I need a lot of water in my system. I get shocked like that.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. Let me look before I show the flower. Let me see if
sure.
I'm sorry, not, I pulled up the screen. I saw Barb was there. So hi, Barb again. Um, and Bill, hello. So Jessica is saying, she said whoop whoop to something that was earlier on. So probably something very positive that you said, Madeline. And then she can relate to the money fear
Yes,
piece
yes.
of it. So yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we all carry to a certain extent, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just really highlighted for those Cancerians out there.
Yeah.
And hopefully, Jessica, Madeline offered you some guidance and a little piece around what might be coming up.
I
And then you've
think
got
that we're over it now. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, go for it.
Okay. So, and we have the yarrow. I'm going to hold it back here so you can see the dimensionality of this flower. So the yarrow, it brings in a clarity of mind. Again, a lot of these cards are so on point with the mind. It also brings in some energy. You feel revitalized in a way, and it also enhances the body's your access to the body's natural vitality. And I think, Madeline, you were kind of touching on that just now. I mean, finding
Mm-hmm.
those ways that you can really bring your body back into balance and feel vital. And actually love that word. I love when thinking about health, feeling vital and radiant and vibrant, because that is really, to me, where we are electrical, when we are out there and you think about a light that's bright and vibrant. I don't know. There's something about that that just feels good. It feels like you feel good in your body and you can really shine brightly in the world. So, sorry, I was flailing the card around,
No.
but yeah. So the
Is it
yarrow,
my imagination, or does that look like a jar of salt pills?
it kind of does. It really kind of does. Funny,
All I
funny,
could
funny.
see
I
was,
love it.
hey, those are my salt pills. All right.
Okay. So we are moving on now to Leo.
Yep. All right. Sagittarius is in your fifth house. Oh my gosh, how fun is that? And Gemini is in, in your 11th house. OMG, that's great. That's like, and Jupiter there, like lucky wins, lucky gains, lucky things happening, new things, reaching some sort of goal. having reached a certain level, you may shift in your tribe. You may no longer see a future in some sort of connection to people or a certain group of people. You're going to move, or a way of operating on social media and getting out there. You're going to evolve to something new. You're ending some kind of old way or old group or old affiliation. Is you're going to see that you see no more growth there. It's over there. But then you're onto a new level now. Higher goals. You may reach a goal on that full moon. Like, you may come to a goal, and now you're going to start setting higher goals, and you're going to start reaching for higher ideals. You may have a mind opening that makes you want to start a new way, or a whole new approach to the social media platform, or you meet a whole new group of people, or your social media thing goes up like bananas. You start. My son has Leo in his chart. I can see this happening to him too, because he's going to start really putting a lot of energy. This is a good time for Leo to put a lot of energy into marketing and getting out there. You get a lot of support by this full moon. You might see sudden real exposure of you. A lot of people see you. What else? It's media. I mean, Gemini is media over that. If you have Gemini over that 11th house, that is media. So it's almost like doing really, really well and suddenly breaking through some limited perception about who you're supposed to be on social media, because you're going to start exploring another way and there's some opening up of the mind, or opening up of the avenues, like the floodgate opens up, like a pathway opens up. That's exciting, that you didn't think of, or that you didn't, but it liberates you, or it really sends your media flying up. Or and Jupiter's there, so you're meeting lots of people and interacting with people who word of mouth starts to spread very well when you have Jupiter in the 11th house. You meet lots of people that will expand your career and your calling and your purpose. A lot of acquaintances come in. But it is squaring Saturn, but we're not going to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. That's a real bummer. I like piss off. No, I shouldn't say that.
We're saying that playfully, Saturn.
Yeah.
Totally mean it.
And Mars, by the way, Mars being in your first house during this, it's at 0 degrees, by the way, during this full moon. I forgot to mention that, which really is a big initiator energy of new starts, new something from the past coming back and rebirthing. And it's going to be creative. It's going to be from the heart, passionate. But and in your first house, you're going to be driven, motivated. You're working out, energized, a lot of energy. It's in retrograde, so you're going introspective with it all. It's reflective energy. But as Mars goes direct, you'll be very ready here, and full energy, very a lot of vitality for Leo with Mars there. So let me think if there's anything else I should say. That Sagittarius. Oh, well, the sun, there being in and Mercury in your 5th house in retrograde, there is some new friends and awarenesses of friends that you do agree with now that you may not have agreed with, or people have shifted to your belief system now. People are shifting to agreeing with you, so they collaborate, so they're aligning with you. Stuff like that.
That was really fun to hear, Madeline.
Yeah.
All you were sharing about Leo, because and I know we're recording this a little bit ahead of the energy, but I find that you always feel it before, it's not so locked in. And what I'm noticing, to kind of anchor in what you said in a way, is I had a conversation with my son last night, and I can talk about it because he doesn't watch this either. So yeah, Madeline and I both have kids who are like, yeah, whatever, mom,
exactly.
So,
say anything.
But we had a really, really good conversation actually last night about just a shift in some beliefs and an openness to what I had to share, a curiosity about my perspective on something happening in his life, which was really kind of exciting. And then, you were talking about the 11th house in terms of social media and that approach. I've literally been working on a different approach to what I'm sharing and how I'm sharing on social media. I don't know what that is exactly yet. I kind of have a sort of plan of action, but it'll be really fun to see how that shakes out as I start to shift what I'm doing.
I think it looks really good. And look, it's 11, 11, 11 up there. 111.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. So, okay, look at this Leo
Wow.
right here. The fire star
Whoa.
orchid.
That's so Mars
Or
in your house.
this is like, bam, hello, I'm here. I'm on the scene. So the fire star orchid, and it's about think outside the box. Again, we have that mental energy, wild, fearless creativity, which is very fifth house, being creative. And then being able to see beyond what you've seen so far. And I feel like I can relate to that. I don't know if any other Leos are on the call right now. And if you're watching the replay, I feel like as a Leo sun, we tend to see the the fun and the good and the bright in everything. And we sometimes are blinded by that, or we'll only see but so far because of that sunshininess and be able to see beyond what we've seen. So that could be the truth of something or someone or an experience or a relationship, or it could be the opportunities that might exist. And it kind of feels like maybe a bit of both for Leo in this Gemini full moon. So the fire star orchid.
That's telling me a lot, that card, because with Mars in your first house, it's definitely saying that you guys are coming in, you guys are transforming to really coming from your true heart, your true fire, your true
Yeah.
inspired
All right.
center, there's your orange Shakti.
Bring some of that Shakti in.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay. So I'm trying to find my Virgo.
Virgo.
Virgo. Okay. So Virgo, you guys have this in your 10th house. Awesome. So that's like that. I know somebody with their sun right there in Gemini, and their 10th house is going to hit right on their sun. I wonder who that is. Anyway, so yeah, so we've got this old way of making money comes to an end. This is a time where perhaps you get fired or jobs end. Crises do show up in full moons. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I know. So you feel like it's the end of the world, but it's not, or it's just a new thing comes in. You get promoted. You're off one level of working. You side career, you shift your career. You could suddenly become well known for what you do. You could have a breakthrough in your career where you're now more exposed, more known and seen. You could get married because that is in Vedic. It is your social status shifts. You could get divorced and now you're single. Jupiter's there, so your career is taking there is some sort of alignment with your career and calling. There is an upgrade in your work. You are spiraling up in work and career, but it's more into more soul, because remember, we're going towards that kite. We're aligning with our true destiny. So you've learned something too. You're learning a lot when you have Jupiter in your 10th house about how to expand your business. Your work is expanding. But you are also learning a lot and shifting your beliefs, and there's a balance because you've got that Mercury in your fourth house of home. So there is a shifting of home work environment and working too much. Jupiter there, you may have been working a little bit, working holicky, working a lot. So there's a shift in your belief to be more family, to not let work take you over all the time, to not be obsessed with work, to have more of a personal life, to end a part of your work that's overworking you, or you shift and you work at home so you can be with your family. Let me think. One more thing. We got Jupiter there, so things are expanding in your work. Um, um, and I'm going to say, above all, you become very clear on your true path that is really fired by that galactic center. In other words, you align your new knowledge to seek and become curious of a new destiny in higher consciousness working, and how to evolve your career into a more higher consciousness, and to gain information and to seek that.
It's so interesting whenever I think about the fourth house beyond kind of the obvious parts of the fourth house. And I always think about our heritage, our ancestry, our lineage,
Mm-hmm.
where we come from. And I think this is universal for everyone in our lineage and our heritage. There's heartbreak, and there are wounds of the heart, and it can be heartbreak of many, many kinds. And the pink spirea, which is the card for Virgos, is healing of the heart, and it reminds us to be playful. And so I feel like that's another message of this full moon is there is an invitation for all of us to have some play, to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy our lives, to laugh more, as laughter is the best medicine. And it dissolves wounds of the heart, it dissolves feelings of sadness and loneliness. And we're coming into a season where it's supposed to be joyful and fun, but it can also be very challenging for a lot of people. So, um, you know, I don't know if this is Virgo specific or just a message for all of us um, to to allow ourselves to feel a sense of freedom and expansion when it comes to our wounds of the heart from our ancestors that could relate to something that we do in the world. It may not necessarily be a job, but how we present something in the world, and lean into having a little more fun and play, and to feel a sense of freedom, yet supported when we need that support. And I feel like, a lot of these conversations are part of that story, being able to feel like
Yeah.
we have the support that we need, even if it's not direct. And these flowers are another great way to do it too, to feel like you have some of that support. So pink spirea for Virgo.
Doesn't that look like somebody that's suddenly seen, like they're on a stage and they're seen, like the 10th house where you get more notoriety, more
Yeah.
recognition? That's what
Oh
Libra
yeah. I mean,
is
there's like,
talking about. Yeah.
it's almost like a spotlight.
Yep. Interesting. All right. So now we're going to get to Libra, 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 Libra. Um, and again, you can look for your sun, moon, and rising. And also these reports, you may not feel it unless you have planets. You think it's a 5-degree orb. Most astrologers are now thinking it's more of a 3-degree orb. So it's more like, but maybe you do feel it. You've got other planets going on. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
but I'm not going to feel this one that much because I don't have it. It doesn't really, I'm at 20, my sun is 29 degrees. So Sag. I feel it maybe a little bit. I might travel though. Oh, I forgot to mention for Cancer. I'm sorry. Going back on Cancer, travel, 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 travel on that. Okay, sorry. I left that out. All
Okay,
right.
Jessica. So if you're traveling,
Yes, yes.
there you go.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about Libra. So this is in your third house. The sun is in your third house, and Gemini is in your ninth. So talk about travel again, similar to Aries, a shift in perception, belief in something, seeing something, traveling, or I know a couple Libras that are traveling, planning to travel. Um, um, this is for sure a shift in perception of all of them, of all these full moons there. An old belief goes away, completely old philosophy and old thinking around religion and spirituality completely dies away. You see through some old programming. You realize you were programmed, or you realize it was indoctrinated or something, and you have this sort of breakthrough, and it's a spiritual breakthrough, and you feel happy again. It's like this has been stopping Libra from feeling happy on some level, is this sort of restricted belief and not belief, um being too air, and now it's like aligning air, thinking, the logos, the micro thinking, now with like, well, curiosity. Well, what is there? What is the unseen forces? What is the higher cosmic order? What is cosmos? There's a seeking and traveling, of course, big one, but a seeking to understand a new way of seeing things because an old way dies. So you've now got to, you're on some sort of path of curiosity to understand this new way. You're like awakened. You want to know more. This is a full moon of starting a journey of wanting to go to school and learn more and maybe get a master's in something or start teaching something that is really inspired, and you know it's a higher truth, it's cosmic, it's going to help the world. You feel fired up. It's a Jupiter house. It's good luck. And it can be, if it can be later life relationships can start under this relationships. A lot of relationships can start during these times, so that people are aligned with the person they're going to be. And some of these people's, your mission is to have children. So this is all going to start happening soon. So people are lining up. And what else can I say? Jupiter rules your, just out of curiosity, Sagittarius is that third house and your sixth. And it's about realizing that there's an awakening, because it's a lot of stuff. You've got Pisces over your sixth, the spiritual truth behind our well-being, that we can't be okay without some sort of light or some sort of spiritual practices or some sort, whether it's true or not. It's like there's this awakening to realizing that's what I need to be happy. And I'm not going to hold back. I now see that, and I can now go forward in life knowing I have this. Stabilizing. Go ahead.
Wow. All right. Well, we have lilac for Libra. And the lilac reminds us to be flexible and adaptable, especially to any change in our life. So if this is a time of change for all of us, we're expanding, we're growing. Lilac is a really beautiful support. It also is a flower that can open us up to breaking free of rigid or very fixed ways of thinking.
Yes, that's
which
exactly
is
what that is for this one.
perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then it also allows for the recognition of those opportunities or that are going to bring something into our lives that's bigger and better than we could have expected. And bigger and better, those are kind of flexible terms in terms of like, what does that mean for you? Because my bigger might not be Madelaine's bigger or vice versa. So it's like, what does that mean to you, and how can you focus on adapting to what's happening, maybe shifting your perception of things, or the way you kind of had, as we talked about earlier on, that rigid mindset to open up to see the opportunity that is revealing itself to you. So, and this, it's just such a pretty flower. I love the lilac.
And
it's sweet.
with Jupiter's there in that house, so it's really expanding. It's almost like this opening up of belief and seeing and the red represents the material and the white represents the spiritual. So it's almost like finding the in between, the grounding of the material and the spiritual, and finding a balance there.
I think that's great. That would be great for everyone.
Yeah.
All of us could use a little of that.
All right. Scorpio. Scorpio. I don't know where it's clearer. This is clear. All right. Scorpio. We've got this full moon. You're ruled by Mars. This full moon is in your youch, your eighth house, your house. So there could be a fear of finances. And again, this is also joint sources, joint resources. It's like the ending. It could be a divorce, the ending of a joint resource situation, the end of some sort of collaborative tax commitments, the end of a debt, or reveals a debt, reveals a tax problem, a joint problem, reveals cheating, reveals secrets, information, knowledge that triggers you, that, because Scorpio can be a little triggery, paranoid.
Oh my
And
God,
I know
Madeline.
this doesn't sound good, does it? Don't worry, don't worry. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. But all of this is just fears, and it's over. Like it's resolving it. It's if if something reveals it's not good, it ends it, ends the relationship. This is good though, because we're clear. This is the house of clearing away things that are not part of your future. It's death and rebirth. It's transformative. So some form of information knowledge transforms you. Now it could transform. A truth comes in that transforms you to it. Good news. The end of this. You've you find out that the person isn't, like, let's just put it this way, the truth about somebody is that what you were paranoid about wasn't true, and it's a good relationship, so you were just being paranoid. So that can be a lot, but a lot of this eighth house stuff is a reflection of inherent subconscious fears that are being played out. So they could show up, and they then die, and you transform over that fear, and you're no longer afraid of that. If somebody has Chiron in their eighth house, it usually indicates that their spouse cheats on them, right? A full moon right there, if it's in your eighth house, is going to show you that you've ended this journey. You're no longer afraid of being cheated on. You don't care anymore. And then you know what? It doesn't happen anymore. It just doesn't happen. So there's the end of a fear, which may culminate as that fear showing up in your face, which you just go, whatever. And then it transforms you. And then you discover God is there, because there's a solution and a salvation right there at the same time. So your full moons in the eighth house can be a little rattling, but they ultimately transform you back into a state of rebirth in that area of drama. So I hope that made you feel better.
I
May
want
not
to,
even feel it that much. If you don't have planets there, you may not even feel it. It may just be a credit card card comes in that's higher than you thought, and then you decide to refinance it. You get a 0 interest rate, and you download it, and you don't have any more debt. So it could just be that.
well, for me personally, I have, I mean, it's a little far away, but I do have, I have Venus, and I also have, Saturn there. So yeah, it is what it is. Now,
Oh, that's great. If you have Saturn in your eighth, actually, I have Saturn in my eighth too. That's
yeah,
actually excellent. That's really long-term health. A lot of great things. That's not as malefic as you think. That's double malefic, makes it very positive. I have my Saturn in the eighth too. That's why you do very well when you go into debt.
oh,
I
okay.
bought property land. I went into debt to pay for it. It absolutely paid off big time.
Yeah, I was just looking to make sure that was correct. Yes.
Mm.
I was like, is that true? Yeah, it's true. Um, you know,
Anyway,
it's so yeah, so it's interesting, everything that you were saying about this too, for any other Scorpio risings in particular, like myself, is that um, as many of you know from watching our cosmic chats for a little while, that I am like a hair away from being done with my book, We to Me, A
oh,
Story of Love, Loss, and Liberation. Pre-sale will begin in 2 days. So it's big time excitement. And it relates to my not anymore husband, which, a former spouse or partner is very eighth house. So this does feel like a bit of a completion.
yep.
Let's just put that to the side. But it has really been tough. It's been very challenging,
Hmm.
and lots of things happening in my world, like in my face, that are checking in to see, okay, how at peace are you? How ready are you? How confident are you to actually put this book out in the world? Because until it's out on the publication table, it's it's still kind of quiet. Only a handful of people have seen it. So I definitely feel this. However, I love the flower that came out while you were talking, because it feels very supportive. Now, what's very interesting, and I'm going to share this for anyone who might be in a similar relationship situation. Obviously, not everyone is going to be on the precipice of releasing a book about their relationship, but you could have relationship issues. And I find this flower is really interesting too, where you've got the two flowers, and then you have, these other smaller blossoms. It's almost like a rebirth, which is very scorpionic. for both people. And the question on this card is, are you in a challenging situation or relationship that has left you feeling powerless? So I feel like that's a great reflection question. And this flower reminds you that you have, it's like a fearless sort of love. I feel like I can relate to that a bit, where some of the emotion around my disentanglement or divorce process from him has risen to the surface, and some of the stories around that have been really challenging. But there's this fearlessness within me, this love that I keep having to remind myself of to keep moving forward. And it magnifies trust. So trust in yourself, trust in a higher power, and unconditional love, and enhances your confidence in yourself. So for all the stuff you were talking about, Madeleine, this feels like a salve.
Yes. And I really like that you brought up that book, because I was thinking about you earlier going, oh my gosh, it's her book writing thing coming to resolve, ending it, suddenly seeing that it's ready. Maybe you think you have more work to do on it, but you're going to have a revelation that it's ready. And by the way, I think this book is the ending of your relationship, your energetic, because that's a full moon, really ties
Yeah.
up the old stuff. See, it's not necessarily bad.
No.
It's the ending of this relationship. You see, it's the right thing. Like you said, tying up some sort of loose ends here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
So I guess that's a great example for folks. Like, even though sometimes these mates sound a little scary about what's coming
Yeah.
on, there's all different perspectives on it,
Yeah.
and all different experiences that you could have. So it may not be as like, oh God, as you think. And then if it's actually, let's just say, worse than you think, you weren't all in your head about worrying about it so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it always works out in the end, always
Yeah,
plays out perfectly. So,
it
okay.
does.
Sagittarius.
You guys, this is your time to shine. You have the sun on your back. You did have Venus in your sign for a while, which was great. You've got Mercury in your sign. And so that's going to be Jupiter's in your seventh house relationship. I've seen some Sagittarius coming into co-creative collaboratives with their relationships, absolutely starting up right now on this full moon. And revelations, information, most likely, because you've got Mercury retrograde, their relationship from the past coming in, communicating, or contracts from the past coming back, or things, partnerships that you weren't ready for, mature for. By the way, there's a lot of more maturity arrived at now for things that we weren't mature for, relationships we weren't mature for, come back. They may not have also been mature, but also you may not have been mature enough for this project, now comes back at the time. Partnerships, you've got Jupiter there, meeting your true person if you're single, but also collaborating in partnerships with people that expand your work, your abundance, your meeting of people, word of mouth, clients, new clients, absolutely new clients, a revelatory knowing of how to interact with your clients more, or how to media, because Gemini's media, how to communicate with them. Or you get the final result of some media effort you've been making, because you have Mercury in your first house. But let's see what else. Also, this is just like, communications and conflicts in relationships, because if you have a full, and you have a yin and a yang opposition there, so you've got these sort of out of giving too much in a relationship, or them not giving enough, or you giving too much. So there's some sort of reckoning there, resolve of where you did that, you no longer do that. And then maybe you end a relationship that's not the right relationship, or a partnership is over with, a new one comes in, and you could have a joint collaborative writing or media project. What else? Inspired time for Sagittarians, very much.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like some good stuff going on.
And travel. I got to throw travel in there. Sorry, guys. I keep forgetting that's one of the most important energies behind this travel. Go ahead.
Well, I feel like that's kind of everyone's in that vibe of the travel with that
Yeah.
Sagittarius
Yeah.
um, sun connection to this full moon. Okay, the nasturtium. It's like Saggies in the
Mm.
house. Here we are, ready to shine, ready to go. Nasturtium brings a feeling of contentment and joy. I would also like to say excitement around
Mm.
the possibilities and potentials that exist. It supports being at the right place at the right time. It's a flower that will allow you to highlight your strengths when you're out in the world and even maybe even to recognize for yourself and refine a unique way of being in the world. And Madeline, I know you and I've talked about this, and even with one of your sons too. It's like that that energy of being fully who you are
Mm-hmm.
and expressing that and out in the world in a way that you're just comfortable and content in your own beingness. So this feels really. How does this feel to you as the Saggy sun?
Well, I think it feels like communication because that's a bird. And one of the things that when you do a lot of card reading, you kind of just know the bird represents communication. So,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
Gemini is communication.
Like
Mercury's in your seventh house, so it's communication. Someone from the past flying back in, communicating, and a little bit, look, the energy's nice around this. So it's
yeah,
expansive creative projects. It has a good expansive Jupiterian thing there. I like it.
very much. Yes. Yes. It does feel good.
And travel, flying again, but that just goes with without saying.
All right. So Capricorn.
Capricorn have been triggered this week a little bit because Venus went back into Pluto. So there was everybody got a little bit of karma triggering again, but we're out of that.
Venus
Um,
went back into Pluto. You mean Venus
yeah,
went back?
Venus conjoined Pluto in Aquarius.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, which even though it was in Aquarius, it was still some sort of a triggering for everybody. Pulled out some stuff that needed to be cleared here. Karma, last little bit of karma.
Oh, okay. I missed that
Did you? Did you know
memo.
anybody that
Yeah.
went through a little bit of quite a bit of triggering in the
Yeah, I
last
had a
week?
few things that were triggering to me.
Yep.
I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Mm-hmm.
really? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So if anyone else out there had that,
Wherever, yep, like I have
diagram,
people with karma over their sixth house. They had health fears, major health fears. They're like, everything kind of popped back up. Okay. So we have, what are we looking at here? We've got Gemini in the sign of the sixth house. So Capricorn are fixing their health. They're becoming awakened to something they do. They quit. This is a full moon. You really do quit something. But again, it could hit with a bottom. Like if you are a drinker, I happen to know a heavy drinker, Capricorn, they may hit some kind of a drinking bottom and they wake up and they never want to do it again. And by the way, you never do it again. If you want to quit something, do it on a new moon or full moon, you quit. So there's some sort of quitting, some sort of, and it can't just be a bad day to day. It can't even just be repeat negative thoughts that you have on a day to day that are killing it. That's the tarot card pops up. I know when that's happening in people's lives because I get that card comes up. And that's it. So because the sixth house can be debt too. It's frustrations, it's enemies. It's a tough house. It's like the understanding is arrived at what self-destructive or things we do that don't help ourselves, day-to-day stuff we do that's where that makes us not our own friend. And so that's shifting. So you're gonna start something new. You're on a new journey to explore some alternative health or day-to-day practices or opinions. Or ideas. And there may be, if you're going to be really, really high consciousness, this would be a full moon where you wake up to wanting to be of high service and you realize that your happiness in life isn't there until you be of high service. Like you're not going to motivate from survival. You have awakening where you say, I'm going to be of high service because that's actually the highest path to walk on the planet. You get everything you ever want in life. It's very high karma. You get good karma when you walk in high service. So we've got this shift from just surviving to, you know what, I'm alive here for this much. I want to just be as much service as I can. I'm no longer going to operate in a self-destructive way and have bad habits or bad thinking or negative thinking. I'm going to have an awakening. I'm going to have a turnaround. And Jupiter is there, so Jupiter will show up health issues or bad habits can be exposed and expanded on. Like if you have negative thinking, you may just suddenly realize you created it so fast, you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to think that way again. Some stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting, kind of one of the key elements to the Ocotillo flower is to live carefree. And I feel like with Capricorns, it's
Yeah.
hard for them to live in a carefree way. They have all these things to do and they're very busy and they're go-getters and they've got to trudge up that mountain. And so this is a reminder for them to maybe shift the way they perceive the world. Again, we've got that like that mental element too. Maybe be able to see their day-to-day routine in a different way, come up with another approach, another plan. And it softens rigid habits or modes of thinking or beliefs. So when you're locked into like it has to be this way, there's no space for any carefreeness or any opportunity for growth. And then it also dissolves any judgments that you might have around yourself and others. And I think that speaks to what you were saying, Madeline, as well. So the Ocotillo flower, it is also feels somewhat Capricornian and it's like upward trajectory kind of geometry here. But it's just, I don't know, there's still this fired up nature to it, a little bit of that Sagittarian energy, but yet I don't know, it seems a little softer.
Well, interesting. Yes, because they're going to have the sun in their 12th. So they are dealing with some sort of subconscious revelation because the moon is revealing too. So it's like some sort of subconscious issue comes up to clarify why because busy, you can be addicted to being busy. And so,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
causes stress. So there's an addiction to busyness. That is very Virgo. And the sixth house is Virgo, self-critical, busyness, trying to be perfectionistic, all these things that cause stress and cortisol in your body.
Yeah. No bueno.
Yeah. So there's some sort of awakening there going on around that new information, or you get some kind of a health result that shows you're really stressing out and you need to chill and calm down and not have such a stressful life, All right.
Aquarius.
Aquarius. You guys are bringing us into the new earth, Aquarius. You got Pluto there in your first house. You're being transformed into being the leaders. And so you've got this is happening in your fifth house. How great is that? Oh my gosh. Talk about fun, playful, creative, entrepreneurial projects, writing projects, media projects, co-collaboratives with friends, teaching. God, I just saw 144 up there. So it's like light workers, Aquarius 144, right? So the age of Aquarius. So there's some sort of creative fun, joy, creative collaborative with friends, get together with friends. Full moon could also reveal friends that aren't friends, or end a creative project that hasn't really gone where you thought, but now this one feels really in alignment. It's anything that starts now is going to be part of the new earth. It's the new era. It's because this is the last full moon of the year, so we're ending everything right now in time to begin, right? So we have a new moon in Capricorn coming up, so that's like the big birth of things because it's the beginning of that solar cycle there. But so we're going to have some creative projects, writing, new ways of making money are happening because you've got Saturn in your second. So you're restructuring and clarity and tapping more into your internal resources to find sources of income. And so you're really with Jupiter in your fifth house, you're really expanding your mind, your mindset, and unlimiting your mind and opening up to more playful curiosity, to maybe take on some creative projects, writing projects, to start a creative project, or teach, or have a child. Because you do have all these planets in your second house too, which is Pisces house. It's like, you know, very much around talent and abilities and tapping into their, you've got Mars in your seventh house and 0 degrees. So starting, initiating projects with partners, and almost like because of Pluto being in your sign, you're almost like getting over whatever's holding you back and just kind of saying, you know, I'm not wasting any more time. I want to do what I want to do. That kind of an energy. And God's just going to have to figure out how to keep me alive, or the universe is just going to have to keep me alive. There's a certain amount of faith here, because this is, you know, this is a bit of a realization that if we do this, we will be okay. There isn't this isn't the Fool card where it's a total fear of it, whether it's going to work out or not. I mean, we can see this is going to work out. There's a feeling of things. This is good. This is this is going to work. Vibe. It's supported.
Nice. Okay, so
Yeah.
I just was going over to the chat because I forgot to mention at the top of
Oh.
the Aquarian one that Barb is here, and
Oh,
she's an
hey,
Aquarian
Barb.
rising, which I think you know,
Oh, good.
Madeline.
Yes.
So I was just asking in the chat over on YouTube, like how she was feeling about what you were saying. So I just wanted to see if she responded, which I
Oh,
don't
yes. She's
quite.
definitely applies to this 100%.
Yeah.
And
So,
don't forget, if I put Gemini there, that's a fifth house. That is relationships, new friends, new relationships, meeting new people. She's
well,
meeting new people, I think.
and here we have the
Ooh,
nectarine blossom, which the message is you're among friends. So
wow.
a very big time friend theme. And there's a sweetness and a softness to what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, gentleness, friendliness, camaraderie. And there's also that desire to be of service. So, you know, whatever that may mean to Barb and any other Aquarians that are listening, how can you take kind of that feeling that you have, that you're supported and that you have people around you that care, and use that in a way to be supportive to the collective, to the whole. So this nectarine blossom is so lovely.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that just comes to mind because that fifth house is the house of creativity. It is the house of our joint, you know, it basically it's the house of making children, right? Which is yin and yang, and then the third, the child. So it's like yin and yang come together, and you have a co-collaborative there,
Yeah.
a joint,
Child or project,
yeah,
something
joint or
you're
a
working
project or
on.
entrepreneurial, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, last but never at all the least, at all.
Never least, Pisces.
Pisces. Sagittarius is over your 10th, and you have Gemini in your 4th. So a shift in living, home, an idea, resolve, property, real estate, selling property, real estate, letting go of property, real estate, or living situation. You've had eclipses in your 4th house there. Wait, sorry. I shifted to my rising sign as Cancer, Libra over the 4th. I'm Pisces moon, so basically it's clarity, communication, or writing project initiated around home, or a new project initiated, or let's say someone like me, I own land, maybe I get to initiate, I start the design project on something to build there, or you start a new family, or an old family goes, you get divorced, and other things happening in your chart, relationships are over, a mother could pass away, a relationship with your mother sort of is at its end, or family changes, you realize you could be getting divorced and your family no longer is held together. Sorry, that doesn't sound great, but you know, if that happens, usually it's for the better, and you get in a better relationship and you make a better new family. So that's more right for you. And so we are seeing a culmination of, now with that Mercury opposing, there could be arguments and disputes in your home with relationship people that causes the relationship to end, or that you want to move. You may suddenly get an argument and you just pack everything up and you leave. That could happen. Or it's the opposite. You get an argument, and you guys decide, you know what, we're going to get over this problem. We feel closer now after this discussion. That's the kind of energy that Mercury opposing Jupiter is. You hash stuff out with Pluto opposing Venus, you hash stuff up, and then you evolve up from it, and you recommit, and you decide to move in together. So and or you suddenly have a change in belief about where you want to live, and you decide you do want to move, and you have a beautiful idea and clarity, and with the 11th house there, Sagittarius in your 10th, maybe a career thing is happening that shifts your situation, and you then move, or you let your place go and you travel for a while. That's always been a dream for me. So uh conflicts though in the 4th house with family too, but Mars is not in Cancer yet. So when Mars gets into Cancer, usually that kind of happens more. So I would say that on the whole for Pisces, again, they're going to have, because they've got Neptune in their first house, they are going to have awakenings and shifts in beliefs rapidly as well. They're going to see things differently all the time. And they're maturing. Pisces got Saturn there. So a more emboldening time for Pisces, where they have a shift in perception, and I would say they have a shift in belief that actually makes them believe in themselves, because something's going to show up here, because that Neptune thing is in their first house. So their true calling is going to show up here, and they can't really see it yet, but it's going to make them very, very happy. I've done quite a few readings, and it's just quite magical. So Pisces are going to, their careers or their calling or their purpose is going to start to really, they've really cleared the low density self-critical lack of self-faith or belief into, wow, I can't believe this is going to work out like this. It goes against the Pisces self-belief. Despite their own limited belief about themselves, they're going to do way better than they thought they could, basically. With Neptune in their first house here, causing that whole trine hitting their first house. I mean, that's insane. That's who they are. They're literally who they are. Stepping more into their true, authentic version of themselves is literally going to plummet them as leaders into this new earth, some kind of spiritual higher conscious. Because Pisces tend to have, even if they're not spiritual, they have a natural higher philosophical approach to life. They just naturally know if something's not fair, if it's not nice, or things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that is very true of Pisces. My sister is a Pisces sun. My husband is a Pisces ascendant. And they're very, very different.
Yeah.
However, I can see how that dynamic plays out, where it's just the way they operate in life. So for Pisces, we have the yucca, and I feel like we kind of are back to where we started in a way. These are similar flowers. When you they're quite similar. Wow. So, okay, so the banana, let me hold it back here. I'm going to try to hold it so everyone can see it better. Okay, so the banana yucca, what I love about this flower is that it's one of those that it allows you to discover those hidden talents and the hidden gifts that you hold. So I love this for Pisces, especially since this is a 4th and 10th activation for them. They are now able to, they can shine their gifts and talents in the world in a way that they maybe haven't been able to before, and move them towards a sense of power and purpose. And there is the potential for unexpected leaps and bounds and progress towards their goals. This is a really, I wish I could hold it closer, but I can't.
Yeah.
It's a really great flower for Pisces. I feel like it really very much connects with the energetic of what this Gemini full moon will be like for them.
Yeah, I really think that it is that thing where I said, where they suddenly realize they got further than they are. They're actually going to be successful at something they just didn't believe in. And in a way, that light is kind of breaking through their ego, because that's ego, so it's kind of like a breakthrough. I think that's great, because I did a reading on my son recently and looked fantastic, and he's been struggling. Pisces have been struggling.
Yeah.
So I think this is good news for Pisces, very much so.
Very, very good. Very good. So that wraps it up. We were pretty much on target with where we were before as far as timing is concerned. We've been going long the past couple, but so if anyone wants to, for those who stuck with us, let me just make sure that there's no other questions or comments. Barb commented about the Aquarian uh, what am I trying to say? The Aquarian reading
Okay, what'd she
of
say?
the energy, and she's like, "We shall see," with some eyeballs. So
She says
yeah,
that all the time.
and I feel like this is a really opportune time, especially as we're closing out the energetic of the year and of this Gemini moon cycle. And there's a lot of planetary support for all of us, energetically as well. Just another footnote, there's a lot of very powerful energy coming through to the
Solar
planet right
flare.
now.
Oh,
So just be aware, you might feel tired, you might feel nauseous, you might have ear ringing, you might feel a little like zingy. Just pay attention to that. Don't get freaked out about it and feel like something's really wrong. Like Madeline said, those salts are really helpful.
yep.
Hydrating yourself, really, really great. And then just kind of see how you feel after, a little bit of self-care. And you never can tell where your body might be able to just recalibrate to all the energy that's coming in.
Give
So,
us a like and subscribe. That's all I can
yes.
think of saying right now.
Well, thank you, Madeline. Thank you, everybody, for
Yep.
being with
Thanks
us.
everybody for watching.
And we will see you. Oh, our next one is on the 26th. We know that's right after the holiday, but if you are feeling like you want to escape some family and hang out with us, we would love to see you. It's on a different day, since Christmas Eve was on our normal Tuesdays.
Oh, have we set that in on the 26th, you said?
Yeah.
That's a Thursday. Did you want to stay with Tuesdays?
No. It was still Thursday, right? That's what we have on the calendar, correct?
Oh, okay. We just always do it on a Tuesday normally, but
Yeah, but it was Christmas Eve, so
I
that's why.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
We'll see everyone then. Bye for now.